It's a very good morning to the Gelding and Gelding. We're leaving the state of Victoria today and going to South Australia and Morphettville.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, we're going to that state that's half an hour behind us, and I'll never catch up. But as I've mentioned occasionally in a previous life to many barristers over in South Australia, in fact, I told one barrister over in South Australia he was a very balanced person.
Did he have a chip on both shoulders, Gelding?
Exactly, Professor. Boom, boom.
Well, I would have been very quick on the response there, only I didn't know whether you were going to finish it or you're looking for me to finish it. I knew what I knew what was coming.
Beautiful. Yes, the interesting breed over there, but they certainly have some good racing today. And, Professor, without the weather of Melbourne or Sydney.
Well, we might tell the punters and the viewers that we're steering away from Caulfield because yesterday it was a soft 6 with more rain expected overnight and perhaps some today. It was starting to get into the danger area where it doesn't matter how good a tipster you are. Sometimes the conditions take the certainty, which is what we like, certainty out of selecting winners.
Well, Professor, it's as we've mentioned many, many times on this show, the worry with Caulfield is the bias sometimes, which you don't know. And, of course, with some heavy rain on Thursday and it was rain last night, not as heavy. And as I look out the window, it's a bit overcast at the moment. So I just couldn't tell you how the track's going to perform, Professor. So, let's leave it alone. Let's go to Morphettville, where you will give us an update, I suppose, on the track.
Certainly, Gelding. Well, it's a 9-race card. We can say that, not 10 races, 9 races. 4 Group 3s on offer, and the Group 1, the Goodwood, which was the feature race, race 8. The Goodwood's a Group 1 race for 3-year-old horses and above, over 1,200 metres, worth $1 million, Gelding.
Yes, a good race, the Goodwood, Professor, and look, I'll be having a bet in it, and I've made one of my bets of the day in that race. But look, it's a very open field, Professor. There'd be 6 or 7 chances in this race. So I won't be surprised what win, but hopefully we can pick the winner for you in it. And it's some nice odds too, Professor.
The track's a good 4, Gelding. The rail's out 4 metres for the entire circuit. What are your 2 best bets for today?
Professor, I'm going, my first bet's in race 3, horse 5, Flyer. This Jason Warren trained horse to be ridden by Craig Williams. I say that, yes, we're following Craig as he goes over there. Look, this is a horse owned by Rosemont Stud, where our horse came from. So hopefully we can follow that. But it's a horse that's had 5 starts for 1 win, 1 second, Professor. But I was taken by its third on the 27th of April at Morphettville when it came flying home in the Group 3 1,200 metres Breeder Stakes over there. Today it's a Group 3 over 1,200 metres. If it can be a bit handier placed, I think Flyer's a very, very good chance in race 3, Professor. And at the moment you can get the nice juicy odds, which I took last night, of $4.20. So could be a good, each way type of bet or good little parlay bet. Excuse my voice, Professor. Then we go to the main race, the Goodwood Stakes, South Australia's premier sprint race, the Goodwood, valued at $1 million. Sorry. Look, Professor, I like an old favourite of ours, race 8, number 2, Amelia's Jewel. Even though she's probably best suited out to a mile. Her last run was second in the Quokka, the $5 million Quokka over in WA. when it was just beaten by Overpass. Damien Lane's aboard. Amelia's Jewel having its last run for Western Australian trainer Simon Miller before going on to Annabelle Neesham over in New South Wales. Obviously to tackle the bigger races on the eastern states. So, look, Simon Miller's put the blinkers on it. Hopefully that can spark Amelia's Jeweler. I've taken the $4.20 on offer, Professor, already, which I think is fantastic odds for probably one of the proven Group 1 performers in Australia. Mind you, a lot of competition, but I'm very happy taking the $4.20. So my two are race 3, horse 5 Flyer, into race 8, horse 2 Amelia's Jewel. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, my first selection today is in race 5, the Centauria Stakes, a listed race for 3-year-old and above fillies and mares over 2,019 metres, Gelding. Now, I was trying to work out why a race would distance out at the exact 2,019 metres. Well, a little bit of research.
Yes.
That's 10 furlongs in the old money.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Professor. Spot on. And how many yards in a furlong?
Go on, Gelding.
It's 200 metres, isn't it? Or
well, a furlong's an eighth of a mile, so 8 furlongs in a mile.
Beautiful.
So for those of the younger viewers who aren't
and a mile is how many yards, Professor?
1,760.
Beautiful. Well done, Professor. Yet now they call the mile the 1,600 metres.
Yes, they do, Gelding.
Yes.
All right, so a little bit of education there in That's Racing today. So my tip in this race, Gelding, is horse number 1, Sione, coming out of barrier 3. It's had 22 starts for a pretty impressive 9 wins and 5 placings. So the percentage rates, Gelding, are up where we like them. These would be things we tick off. 41% win rate, 64% place rate. This is the 4th start of its campaign, and it's included a third, a second, and a win. And the win was at the last race 2 weeks ago in the Group 2 Queen of the South Stakes. So it's back in class today. The only query I've got with it, Gelding, is can it run the extra distance, and will that be a problem? I think this is a class horse, and I don't think it'll be a problem for it. Billy Egan's in the saddle. He's in career form, 11% over his career, but over the last 50, 20% Gelding, so that's a nice little increase. And Patrick Payne, he's in stellar form, Gelding, 16% career win rate. Over his last 50, he's running and hitting at 26%. That's amazing.
No, it's incredible, Professor. I do like the tip. And what odds are we looking at, Professor?
Well, I got $4.40 and $1.55 this morning, Gelding, so I'm very happy with that. I don't think it'll start that long when we get to the barrier.
As you said, a Group 2 winner coming back to listed class. What do you think of number 4? See what I see.
Definite threat, Gelding.
Definite threat. This is, yes, I got to admit, this is an up-and-coming horse, Professor, but it hasn't reached the heights of your tip. So, it's got to do it. And again, a bit of a distance query. So, again, nice each-way value, Professor.
It is, Gelding. And the second selection also gives nice each-way value. Race 6, the Proud Miss Stakes. It's a Group 3 race for 3-year-old fillies and mares over 1,200 metres. I like in this race, Gelding, horse number 6, Extra 2, coming out of barrier 8. Similarly impressive win rate here, Gelding. 11 starts for 5 wins and a placing. So a 45% win rate, a 55% place rate. It's had 5 starts this campaign, Gelding, with a very impressive 3 wins and a second, including a win at Caulfield 2 weeks ago. It's won over the distance, and I think the trainer has set the horse for this race. Carleen Heffel's in the saddle, Gelding, and I think she might have ridden either your horse or our horse at some stage.
Yes, had a sit on it. And, of course, this horse is trained by Kieran Maher, Professor, and it would be remiss of us not to tip a Kieran Maher horse in our segment, the way that stable's flying at the moment.
Exactly, Gelding, and you get the juicy odds today of $4.60 and $2. So I grabbed that because money back, I'll always take that, and I don't think it'll start at $2 the place when we get to the race start time.
Any horse that's won 5 races out of 11 starts, Professor, you got to be happy with, wouldn't you?
You do, Gelding. So my 2 today: race 5, horse 1 Sione; race 6, horse 6 extra 2. Now Beautiful. We turn to the Professor's parlay, Gelding, and unfortunately last week, my Wallock, 4th,
yes.
a length and a half behind the winner. How did you see that?
With a little bit of swearing on the TV, Professor, but yes, a bit disappointing. But hopefully today we can change it around, Professor.
Yep.
And backing a horse that has won over $3.5 million, Professor, and 9 wins out of 15 starts, that'll do me.
Well, we'd like to think that shows some signs of what the horse can do, wouldn't we?
We would, Professor. We would.
All right. The other 2 selections.
60% win rate. Yes.
The other 2 selections, Gelding, Melbourne Storm.
Well, we better tell them the name of the horse, Professor.
Oh no, I'm still on last week, Gelding.
Oh right, okay.
Melbourne Storm saluted and Cronulla Sharks saluted. So I was right to go to the NRL last week. So 2 out of 3, Gelding. Anyway, parlay watch currently at 59%.
Oh, well, it's still a great percentage.
It's a great percentage, Gelding. We don't want it to slip under 50, though.
No, I know you've got your own KPIs there, Professor, but you're giving yourself you're setting yourself a high benchmark. Let me tell you.
All right, Gelding. So the horse leg this week, the agreed bet of the day, race 8, horse 2, Amelia's Jewel, for all the reasons that you gave in your summary earlier in the segment. Let's parlay that, and we'll go AFL this week, Gelding. I had a look at the NRL, a couple of trap games there, and I thought, no, I'm going to steer away from that. I like the AFL this week, so let's parlay that into the Gold Coast Suns to beat North Melbourne. The game's being played at TIO Stadium in Darwin, Gelding. The conditions will certainly suit Gold Coast.
The ball will be like, but did you see North Melbourne training during the week, Professor?
With wet balls?
Wet balls with washing liquid on them, dishwashing detergent on it, well, to create the slippery conditions of Darwin.
That's a page out of the Ron Barassi coaching handbook, isn't it?
Oh, I would have said so. Wouldn't the first piece of advice be to get the footy?
Yes, Gelding. Yes, and keep it.
Yeah. Worry about it then.
Gelding, Gold Coast are 10th at the moment. They've won 4 and lost 4. They've won 2 out of the last 5, so not too good a lead in. But as I said, the conditions suit. North Melbourne 18th, haven't won a game. Their average points against is a worry, Gelding. They allow in 120 points per game. Now, how many games of AFL at the moment are you going to win when the opposition averages a score of 120?
When the opposition's kicking 20 goals, Professor, you're not winning games of footy.
No. And their defence, Gelding, is the worst in the AFL by 200 points.
Wow. And what round 9?
The 17th team, Gelding, is allowed in 200 fewer points.
Wow. That's, not good.
No. And the bookies have got the same opinion, Gelding. The line's 41.5, so nearly 7 goals head start.
It's a big start, isn't it?
Very big start. So we'll parlay that into Collingwood to beat West Coast. Yes. Collingwood 9th at the moment. Over the last 5, Gelding, 1 4 and 1 draw. So they're doing very well in that period of time, and I think they'll be far too strong for the West Coast, who are, let's face it, yes, have improved form, but they're still only won 2 out of 8, Gelding, and their average points against 95, that's in the red zone as well. The line, the bookies, 39.5, so it's more than 6 goals head start. And at Marvel Stadium, in very good conditions, I think Collingwood will be far too good.
Professor, I think you're spot on with that summary. That's fantastic summary. I think Collingwood have flipped the switch back on after a slow start, and I'm sure the Princess may have given them a bit of a hurry up after round 3, and they're now well and truly on their way.
Yes, they certainly are, Gelding. So today's parlay, race 8, horse 2 at Morphettville, Amelia's Jewel, and we'll parlay that into the Gold Coast Suns to beat North Melbourne, into Collingwood to beat West Coast.
Well, I like it, Professor.
Yeah, I think,
Confident.
Gelding, I'm glad we're staying away from the rainy conditions.
I like it, Professor. I like the tips, and confidence levels are good. Looking forward to getting all four parlays up today.
And exactly, Gelding. And given the run of ordinary luck we've had over the last few weeks, maybe it might just turn in our favour today.
Yes, change of luck due, Professor. Let's go interstate. Let's get 4 winners.
All right, Gelding. So until next week, and let's racing. It's good luck.
And good punting.